I think a lot of us spend years building a picture of the future in our head. Retirement, a different country, more freedom, more time, a better life. And then sometimes you get a glimpse of that future and realize the thing that you've been searching for isn't exactly what you thought it was. I recently spent a week in northern Spain with my family, partly as a holiday, partly because Spain is somewhere that I've often imagined spending more time in later in life. And the trip taught me something that I wasn't expecting. Like many people in their 50s, I've started thinking a lot more about the future, where I want to live, what retirement might look like, how I want to spend the next chapter of my life. Spain has been part of that picture. Climate, slower pace, the food, the lifestyle. But when you actually go somewhere and spend time there, reality starts replacing your imagination. And I think that's a good thing, because reality is always more useful than fantasy. And the funny thing is, the biggest lesson from that trip wasn't about Spain at all. It was about life. Traveling with children isn't always peaceful. People get hungry. Plans change. Some restaurants are a disaster. Everybody gets tired. Sometimes you've carefully planned out things and they just don't work out. But looking back, I think those moments don't ruin the experience. They're part of it. And I think that's true about life in general. We spend so much time trying to remove the imperfections, but maybe the imperfections are the experience. And one thing I noticed as I've gotten older is that growth rarely comes from dramatic moments. Most growth actually comes from small discomfort, trying to communicate in another language, finding your way around somewhere unfamiliar, being willing to slightly feel out of place. And I think those moments stretch us, not enough to break us, just enough to grow. And perhaps that's why travel is so valuable. It reminds us that we're still capable of adapting, still capable of learning, still capable of change. And the biggest thing that I took away from this trip was the quality of your life has to do less with where you are and more to do with who you are when you get there. You can move to the most beautiful place in the world and still be unhappy. Or you can find contentment almost anywhere if your priorities are right. Family, health, purpose, connection. Those are the things that matter more than any postcode. And they matter more than the weather. The older I get, the more I think balance isn't about creating perfect life. It's about learning to appreciate an imperfect one. It's about planning for the future without living entirely in the future. Because one day, this chapter of life ends too. The children will grow up, retirement arrives, the future becomes the present. And when that happens, I suspect most of us won't be wishing we'd spent more time chasing perfection. We'll wish that we'd spent more time appreciating what was already there. That's probably the biggest lesson I brought home in Spain. If any of this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. What's something that you've been imagining about your future? And has reality turned out to be different from what you expected?